Alright, and hello everybody, I'm the Super27 and welcome to another Dokkan Battle video. I did it. I was actually able to finally beat the Kid Buu Red Zone. Now, I did use items for this attempt, but we are actually using a very fun team, a team that'll unfortunately probably never get any new additions. And this is probably as good as it's ever going to be, which I'm a little bit, I'm kind of sad to say that actually. But we are using the Super Dragon Ball Heroes team. Now, this team is actually still pretty good on global in terms of, like, just everything. So, because even, like, with the Majin Buu Red Zone stuff, a lot of these fights are still relatively short when you compare them to, like, 9th anniversary stuff. And none of them hit incredibly hard outside of this Kid Buu. This Kid Buu could actually be the most damaging boss in the entire game. If he gets fully built up and you never debuff him ever, his super attack effect I'm pretty sure can get over a 4 million. I think it's like a 4.2 million when he's fully built up, because each time he gets hit, he gets 5% attack, and I believe that caps at 150. So when you add on the multiplier he gets, so you get the 30% on his super attack effect, plus he's fully built up. His super attack is 1.736 or something around those lines. Basically, that's a lot of damage, right? You know, whatever. Pretty much almost nothing is going to be living that, I don't think, when it's at its full potential and you're not debuffing it by any means, you know what I mean? But outside of that, like the Super Buu Red Zone, I know that's not the greatest example because that's or Buhan, excuse me. Like the maximum amount of damage he ever does is a 1.736, and that's in his final phase, you know, when he's the Supreme Kai absorbed. Or the AoE Super Buu one. That, again, that's like a 1.5 million. So a lot of the Dragon Ball Hero characters are actually able to live and or just dodge that attack. You have a lot of utility on this team. So this is probably going to be the last event where you're going to actually be able to run these characters. So if you're a fan of the Heroes characters like I am, definitely take as much advantage of it as you can in this event. I feel like I could maybe dive back in here and do a no item with this, but let's just go ahead, really quickly break down what the Heroes team is doing, so if you would like to do this run yourself, you can kind of understand it a little bit better. So, we are bringing the boy, AGL SSJ4 Super Vegito. So, or the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, excuse me, I believe I butchered his name there just a bit. You have to excuse me with all the heroes' names, they're all just like extremely long run-on sentences. He's actually very good in this event. Now, his active skill, which you're going to see right here, it's actually a melee, meaning that it gets nullified, and it is just buffing up Kid Buu a little bit. I did that for pretty much the reason of just wanting to get guaranteed crits, because you kind of need to blitz through this. Because both of the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s, they actually get worse as the fight goes on, whereas a couple of other characters on this team, they actually get better. So there's no point in, like, wasting it. I mean, it's not wasting, you know? Again, you just want to do as much damage as humanly possible. And as you can see there, we actually didn't use the Ghost Robo, or whatever it is, because I'm actually pretty confident we can live on this turn. This guy right now, he has 60% damage reduction. He's getting defensive support and offensive support from his linking buddy, who we'll get to in just a second. And he's super attacking first, meaning that he's going to get all of his buffs. Now, this Kid Buu, he is pretty famous for super attacking immediately, which can be super scary. But I'm pretty sure even if he did, even with that low amount of HP we had, we might have been able to live, or if we did, it would have been with just a sliver. And boom, this is a super crucial little counter right here. That's the reason we're pretty much still in this, is because of that. But the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4, he does just launch a ton of additionals. I've actually seen people nuke the starting phase by using the Chi-Light items with this character. Just because he has a super high chance to crit. He launches a billion additionals. He does guaranteed crits on his active skill turn. As you can see there, we were able to get down 3 of his health bars in just one little burst rotation, which is super clutch. And that's yet again another dodge that survived us. If we didn't get all those dodges and those nullifications, we would be dead on this turn. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. We love dodge. This whole rotation we have right here, it's actually an entire utility rotation, but we're going to talk about the main rotations beforehand. So up next, let's go ahead and talk about the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Now, he is pretty good, but mine is only at 55%, so mine is a bit of a fraud. He does, like, do decent in terms of defense. Like, he can tank normals normally pretty well, and this event he actually does kind of struggle to take normals in some situations, just because he normally only launches like one super, and his stats are just a little bit low without having all the extra dupes, which is obviously a bit of a problem. But the counter is super clutch. It is a 50-50, and if he gets targeted by a super attack, he just nullifies it, and then he does a beam counter, which means we can actually get a little bit of damage, and we get to save ourselves millions of damage, just because of how incredibly powerful his super attack is, this Kid Buu, again, once he gets fully built up. Now, you may be wondering why we're using the Guard Robo item. That's kind of a very rare and obscure item, and that's normally, I don't like using rarer items, you know, it's not very, again, that's another dodge, just throwing that out there. But it's not always, because you can't always get stuff back. Like, I'm holding on to a copy of, like, the Azelbub and that STR Icarus, because I don't want to sell them, just because I don't know whenever we'll get them back, or how, like, frequently we'll get them back. I like to hold on to my rare belongings, but I believe you could actually grind up the Robo events or whatever. But the Robo, he is a Ghost Usher for 1 turn, and then on the next turn, he debuffs the enemy by 66% to their offenses. Now, that's actually pretty huge, because this Kid Buu, obviously, he can be debuffed, and he builds himself up. So that's kind of how you counteract his buffing, is by using that item. It keeps us safe for 1 turn, and then we kind of undo all the additional damage, because we are launching a lot of additionals here, but none of these are debuffing, you know? Now let's talk about the Crimson Masked Sand. Crimson Masked Sand is probably one of my favorite characters in the game. He's just really fun to use. On this team, he's super clutch. He does get a guaranteed, like, full heal after turn 5. He has guard. He does a lot of damage. He's pretty safe, you know what I mean? Now, he can actually get clapped up if you run him on other things. And before he transforms, before he supers, he can definitely get clapped up. But having type advantage, and again, none of his attacks are melees, meaning that he's going to be doing consistent damage, is something that I really do appreciate. And the extreme side of the Heroes team actually is a little bit better off than the Superclass side, just because of the crazy amount of support that they have. And speaking of support, let's talk about none other than Demon Goddess Toa. Now, she is a little bit scary to run in here. If she gets tagged once, you're basically dead. She takes a normal for like 556,000 damage if she doesn't dodge. She's a pure 50-50. She's a coin flip whether she lives or where she dies. She doesn't get any defense on her super attack effect either, so it doesn't matter. You can put her in slot 1 if you really needed to. She's a little bit scary to run, but the amount of support she gives to the extreme side of this team is just nuts. If you ever get below, I think it's 50% HP, that's when she gives like her massive amount of support, which I think we wasted on that turn where we had the Masked King as well as the Metal Cooler. But she is just a very nice addition to the team that just buffs everything. Next, we have the Dark Masked King himself. He is a phenomenal unit. He is pretty much like a villain version of Vegeta and Trunks. You just kind of put him into slot 1. He does revive a little bit of HP every time he does a super attack. Now, most of the time, we were using the Ghost Robo on his turn, so I don't actually think he would be nearly tanky enough in this event to be able to survive any of those. But he is just like one of the better options defensively to put into slot 1. And then lastly, we have Metal Cooler, Golden Metal Cooler, I should say. He is one of those characters who, again, is very wacky. If you have entered like the attacking rotation with 80% or more HP, he's kind of a god, because he has 80% damage reduction, he launches a ton of additionals, he gets a lot of defense on his super attack effect, and obviously he has type advantage in that first phase, so I could have put him into slot 1 if the event ever arose, but he does get very bad if we have low HP, which happened a lot during this event, which is why we had to use both of the Ghost Robos as opposed to maybe just one of them. But yeah, this is a very fun run. I would actually challenge anybody to use the Heroes team for this event if you haven't done so already. But yeah, and most of these characters outside of the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 and the Crimson Masked Sand, they are rainbowed. So, I mean, obviously I know using items kind of trivializes everything, but you never know. It was a fun run. But yeah, that is going to be all for this time, guys. Also, I did do the Power Beyond Super Saiyan mission as well. I didn't intend to do that, but I forgot that Crimson Masked Saiyan, he's actually on Power Beyond Super Saiyan. But yeah, that'll be all for this time, guys. I've been the Sweetbro27. I'm a variety Twitch streamer and an up-and-coming YouTuber trying to make it big in the world. I have a Twitter, a Twitch, a TikTok, and a YouTube, the links to which can all be found in the description of this video. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, share me around, and leave me a comment. What team did you use to beat this red zone if you're a global player? Were you able to do it with no items? I am still trying to do a no-item run. I am, like, recording all of my attempts, and if I ever do it, or whenever I do it, that will become a video. But yeah, let me know, what team did you use, and how do you feel about the Majin Buu Red Saga as a whole, like the red zone, you know? I feel like they're all very fun, but only Kid Buu, I'd say, is like the challenging one. Most of them really weren't too difficult, and this is me being confused because I didn't realize I beat the Power Beyond Super Saiyan mission. But yeah, I was actually, overall, I'd say this is actually a pretty good little, like, gimmicky red zone with one really hard fight at the end. But yeah, that'll be all for now. So as always, I've been the Sweetbro27, and I am signing off.